and just these two are very instrumental. So, yeah. So, if
This film never played before. I had a total deja vu watching this film.
yes, it's been playing since December of last year at various events. So it's played in, I don't know, maybe like 11, 12 states. Yeah, we just actually played this morning at Stan Lee's Los Angeles Comic Con. So that's why I was late. I flew in on a flight to come here. And it's something with LAX and their tarmac, and that's what that was the delay. That's why I didn't come until when I did. Yes.
Is this based on pure science fiction, or is there any reality basis on this at all?
The thing is, the writer Julia Cameron's not here. She would be the one to answer that question, but she did base it on certain life experiences, if you will. Yes. So, she's a very accredited writer. Without Julia Cameron, there would be no film. So, Julia, God bless you. Yes.
And how long has this research been going on?
For her, it's been a couple of years that she's been doing this. And what happened was my producer, Howard Nash, who's produced pretty much all of my films. This is my fourth feature film. And each one has had Robert Picardo. So I'm very blessed to work with Bob Picardo on my films. And basically, he found her script and he optioned it. And the reason she said yes to it, and she did these two other big films called Area Q and Open Road. They had like Andy Garcia, Juliette Lewis, and Isaiah Washington in them. So she was a writer. She's a Writers Guild of America writer, and the reason she decided to say yes to this is because of Robert Picardo's involvement. And then she, I guess, looked at our history. So she came on board, and that was like, I don't know, February 2014. And then we started shooting this, I guess, September 2014. And then does everybody know like post-production process, how that works? So you shoot the film, we shot it for 10 days. And that was interesting in itself because we shot 7 days with the real couple and then 3 days with the parallel couple. And they're the same people. They're the same people. I met with Brianna White, who played Annie in Parallel Annie. We gave her a dye job. And in fact, the first dye job did not hold because that was take one. But yeah, Annie Curtis, if you think about it, did cause this. Does that make her the villain? I don't know. I just think she was human. And at the end, she turned on the camera again. Yes.
I have a question that's kind of a physical question. When you talk about quantum physics and its interpretation of parallel universe, you have to remember that you have to add at a very small scale angstrom. Here we don't see any quantum physics at all. And, would you just might describe your representation of quantum physics, multiple universe concept as a metaphorical interpretation?
You could say it's metaphorical. I mean, it's, I'm more of the artist, if you will. I'm just interpreting the script and I guess making it my own as the director of the film. So yeah, I would definitely say that. I mean, this person here is definitely more versed than I am in quantum physics. There's no doubt about that, yeah.
If we assume that we're living in parallel universes, I'd like to ask you, and that these universes are all influencing all of us all the time, how do you theorize that our judgments being influenced, our attitudes about morality being, how would you theorize that they're affecting us as we sit here and affecting you right now if we're in the middle of these parallel universes?
My guess would be not one little bit. I don't think they interact on that level. It would take an event, or like say a vortex is portrayed in the movie, for any type of interaction to be possible. Now, I'm quite positive there are areas on the planet where there are natural vortexes, say for example Sedona, Arizona. People that have been there very commonly feel energies at play there, and it's reported that a lot of things pass through there, appear out of nowhere.
I should bring this in April. I think the film is going to play in Sedona.
Bingo! It'll probably play well in Sedona. But to answer your question, there probably are places where it's a little bit thinner of a wall between the different dimensions or universes, and perhaps some of the ancient mystic cultures that we know about, the Middle East or ancient India cultures, had a way of communicating between these different realms, which is, you know, where their concept of gods or higher power entities came from, that they learned from. And that's just an interpretation of, you know, where these entities could have come from. Now, we know that most of the major religions on the planet, they weren't founded on some guy who grew up with all the other kids in the neighborhood and just learned more all of a sudden. It's not the way it worked. It was, every religion is founded by some being, not from here, generally descended from the sky with greater knowledge that helped to raise the civilization he came in contact with. That's a pretty common theme. And, you know, way back then, with the tools and the knowledge that they all had, oh, yeah, that's a god. We're a little bit more educated now. We have technology that lets us know it's not all magic. And so we can easily relate to the concept that maybe these entities or beings that showed up before are aliens, or interdimensional travelers, or bleed-overs from another universe. That's not a stretch of imagination at all. If any of you have read anything by Jacques Vallée, his book Dimensions is a very good example of old European tales of, say, gnomes and elves and mythical creatures we grew up listening to stories of that quite possibly are interdimensional beings. You know, all the accounts of run-ins with them that are accounted in fairy tales throughout the ages and myths and legends that are passed along, when you break it down and listen to what the details of the story are, they're not that dissimilar from what we hear of alien encounters and contactee statements of what they've been through. And again, it reverts back to the tools available to the people in contact at the time, the knowledge that they had, and, you know, how they dealt with what they were presented with. Anytime you're presented with something that far out, you're going to try and relate it to it in the terms that you're comfortable with. You're going to try and make it something more human to you, because that's how your mind automatically wants to accept it.
Well, I'll tell you, in this film, of course, you know, it's technology played a key part in what we saw. So, but I just want to bring in Eric here, who was very instrumental in helping to spread the word about this film. That's one reason why we are here, because of Eric here. So, you know.
Well, thanks a lot, Russ. And it's been my pleasure to know you. I got to know Russ about a year ago. He was up in Palo Alto at the TV studio where I taped my TV show. And at that time I was helping another producer do a TV show called Got Movie. His name's Paul Hickman. And actually Russ and Paul and I and actually even Jeff are working together on a new movie, which I don't know, I'll leave it up to Russ if he wants to talk about that project. But since we're focused on Occupants tonight. But Russ was, he was just a great guy, and I talked to him about the TV show, and he's like, I'll go on your TV show. So I had him on the TV show. I think the first episode was November, or was it December?
Was it December? I think it was December.
It was,
yeah, it was December.
Yeah, it was, the movie wasn't even finished yet the first time, as I recall, and I was the first one to actually broadcast the trailer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And so it's been a really fun ride. He's really shown me a lot of different great venues, including the Miami SuperCon, the San Diego Comic-Con, Shriek Fest, and of course here today. And so it's just been a lot of fun for me helping him to promote the project and meet a lot of people. I've met Bob Picardo. I call him Bob. You guys might know him as Robert. But anyway.
You know him as Mr. Woolsey.
Mr. Woolsey from Stargate, right. So, but he's a really, really great guy, and he's probably nothing like you guys would ever imagine until you meet him in person. It's amazing, some of these really nice people. So, it's been my pleasure. I don't know what else to say.
Well, you know, I meant you have a. I think,
you want me to say something substantive?
I think you have a more, I guess, objective experience of what's been going on with Occupants in the various events, because we have been literally going around the country and Toronto also. I guess but anybody knows domestic, when they do the domestic total, Canada's counted part of it. So I do count Canada part of domestic, if you will, because that is, film term. So we went to, the Ontario province as well as many, many states. And, he's been at Florida. You met Bob there at Florida.
Yeah, we call him Bob.
Robert Picardo, if you want, yes. Okay, so, Eric has been, he has this show called Cosmic Cafe Show, and he's just really helped to spread the word. So, I think it's for the lack of a better term, very cosmic.
Well, the audience really loves the whole concept of parallel dimensions, parallel worlds, and so that was what the attraction was. And I would actually, if you wanted to see Russ early on last year, feel free to go to my website and you can dig through the archives and see my first interview with Russ. He's definitely polished up a lot.
Here's the other thing. When the film first played, I had no idea if people would like it. I really didn't, because I've seen this film a million times. I did some of the visual effects when the pan hitting thing. I did that, frame by frame by frame, and I only see flaws, because I'm the filmmaker, right? So when we had our first screening at the Writers Guild in December 2015, and it was family and friends and cast, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it was great. Everything was great." I'm like, "Okay," but they're family and friends and cast, so I guess I'm sure that's what they're gonna say, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, they're just being nice. Then we had our real first event in Maryland. It was called Farpoint. It's a Star Trek convention there. And it's the first time I flew out to an event, and it was a great experience. And I met some great people there. Mark B. Lee, Lakita Edwards, Pat and Lisa Spanego. And there was a reaction to this film from this 13-year-old girl that was there. And it really surprised me. She was going, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever seen. I'm gonna go on Snapchat and whatever. And I'm going, oh my gosh, that's the reaction? And that was not my target audience. That's not who I was going for. Actually, like 20-something, to be honest. So when I saw that reaction, I was like, oh my gosh, I guess she really liked the film. And then we played at Phoenix Comic-Con. That was our first real world premiere, if you will, because everything else was like work in progress. So Phoenix Comic-Con Film Festival, that was in June. And we ended up winning the second place prize there, which really shocked me. I only see flaws in my own film, right? And again, there was another 13-year-old girl in that audience who had the same reaction. I'm going, okay. So I guess our target audience are 13-year-old girls to this film. So yeah, it just really surprised me. And as the events have gone by, Florida SuperCon, they again gave us another award, and I'm not going to name which one.
Best Director
no,
Award.
No, but
right
they
there.
did. They were very kind to
Yes.
us. Yes, thank you. And.
Yes. Best
And then,
Director Award.
San Diego Comic-Con and Shriekfest. Shriekfest it was an honor. Shriekfest.
Best
I've
movie.
always wanted to get into Shriekfest, and I never could. Just to get in was an honor, because that's one of the top horror festivals in the Los Angeles area.
Science fiction and horror.
It's science fiction and horror, yes.
Yeah.
And again, I never thought we would win, let alone get in. And we won the Best Sci-Fi Feature Film Award there. And that was just like, ever since then, it's just sort of accelerated and helped, momentum with the film, only because that is a really prestigious award. And, I'm not saying that to say, wow, look, I won this. I'm saying that because it helps, I guess, with future productions. Because what I really would love to do is Occupants 2. So if people here liked Occupants 1, then I think you're going to be in for a ride with Occupants 2.
By the way, you
This
guys
is
got to
a
go on their
juggernaut.
website and see the trophy he got from Shriekfest. He couldn't bring it up here because he had to just do a quick plane trip up. And when you see the trophy, you would know why he couldn't get through TSA with it. Let me just tell you.
Yeah, it's a
Thanks
bloody
for
reel.
attending.
Yes, they would have
Yes.
confiscated it.
Yeah, they would have confiscated
Okay, so
it.
the case studies, were they just made up, or are there real case studies?
Well, there is a Peterson Research Institute site you can go to at pri-info.org. No, pri-research.info. And if you want to see anything on Occupants, it's occupantsthemovie.com. I actually have cards. It's in his car, though. So if you're willing to wait, you can go to his car and get you some business cards. Again, you have to forgive me.
Or stalk
again,
us and
just
follow
flew
us.
out from Los Angeles. I had 3 hours of sleep today.
Take
So,
them, go.
yes, basically, this is the true story of what happened. Is there was a line in the script where Picardo's character says there's even some video. Well, there was no video. So I had my friend Chris Winters, co-producer of the film. He helped put that together, and he became the PRI representative, which is, by the way, his character is extrapolated in the comic book. So, and he had his friends, I had my friends, and my friend John Paul Ouvrier had his friends, and we recorded testimonial videos literally from all over the world. And then they gave it to us. And what I did was then the visual effects artist, they're out of Bangalore, India, named Screen Arts VFX, they put it together. And then we created this website to show that there was a testimonial. And then the comic book then ties into the website, which then ties into the feature film, and it's like this big circle. So check out the website. I mean, I hope you like it, but we really put a lot of effort into this. And one more thing, Cloverfield was my inspiration for doing all this because they did a viral marketing campaign there with Slusho Cola, if you remember, or Taraguto, yeah. And 10 Cloverfield Lane sort of ties in. In fact, that's actually an alternate reality if you really like pay attention to it. So that's another parallel. Yeah, it's great. That film was wonderful. But that really inspired me. In fact, I almost went with the premise of not using music at all in the film, just like Cloverfield, only in the end credits. But I realized you needed the music to come in. If you notice, it sneaked in. And then by the end, it was just this big, rousing finale. So, does somebody have a question? I'm sorry.
Yes,
Yes.
I do. You're probably aware about the new book of late Crouch, Dark Matter, and there is
The Foundation series. I mean, my inspiration are from quite a few of them. I mean, you go to Hitchcock as a filmmaker. So.
I highly recommend you because you are.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank
Very
you.
nice because he consulted MIT professors to make it right.
Yeah, I'm not saying Occupants is scientifically 100% correct.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a
know,
film. It's a film.
It is scientifically feasible.
Yes, it's what we're trying to do as a filmmaker. I like to use my imagination. I want to say what if, and I actually do believe in the multiverse theory. I think it's very, very possible.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So this is not a far stretch from me. Again, I cannot say it's 100% scientifically accurate. In fact, a lot of it, it's like, how come she can go through this portal and we can't? And what was the answer? I don't know. She just found a way. Well, that's the answer that we're presenting to you, and it's up to you to decide why.
Consciousness.
It could be consciousness. I'm sure to everybody there's an explanation. I don't want to as a filmmaker to tell you. I want you to figure out an answer for yourself. Of course, when we do Occupants too, there's some answers going to be a
I
little
would
bit.
like to say one thing though. The vortex is.
And
my
I just
biggest-
want to say a shout out to my friend John Manha back there. He's in the comic book and he came out. John, thank you. Thank you. Bye. We'll talk some more. Thank you. Okay, so I'm sorry.
No, quite right. How the vortex got there in the first place, I'm hoping is what's going to be answered in the next one. Because to me, the creation of a vortex is going to take some kind of an extreme amount of energy,
Yeah.
and it's not going to occur naturally in nature.
Yes.
So what gives?
I don't know. That's
Comic
what
book
Julia
kind of
Cameron.
hints a little bit at it.
Yeah.
I think I caught the hint.
Yeah. You did read the comic book, right?
Oh, you bet.
Oh,
yeah. Instantly, as soon as you said it to me, within 10 minutes, it was read.
I
He's
read
in
it
it.
within 9 minutes.
9 minutes. Well,
Give or take.
Yeah.
Give or take.
What is the comic book called the Occupants too, or what is the comic book that?
Occupants case 285, whereas this is case 831, which I'm gonna just give you. I'm just gonna tell you, it's my birthday, August 31st. Okay, but yes, what we're trying to say is this is an international phenomenon, which is why at the end of the film you see all those testimonials. I mean, it's getting worse.